Hello and welcome back to Brigador, where we are still going through E3, my red hot car. We're going to try it with the Joust, but I don't know. My expectations aren't super high. The old laser problem of not being able to hit shit. I don't think I used enough ammo. I do feel like with this kind of terrain, though, an A-grav style of control is beneficial. We'll just see if I can survive, mostly. Alright, I forgot this thing has some range on it, so it's actually... this might be alright. When it gets into a real skirmish, that'll be the big test. I feel like I should just be aggressive with this thing, is what I'm feeling. In the last couple of missions with this loadout, being aggressive hasn't gone too wrong, so... at this point I'm just picking fights I don't really need to pick, because it's proving pretty easy to do. I can outrange most of them, outmaneuver quite a few of them as well. I have a feeling if I lose this, it's probably because I'm gonna get hit with something out of the blue that I'm not expecting. Man, fuck those mortars, though. This thing's really growing on me, I gotta say. I mean, just the sheer weight that it hits the ground with is satisfying on its own. I haven't even used the sonic boom yet. See, now I'm playing with fire again because of the bomb things wandering around now. Oh shit. They got up behind me. Well played. Oh shit. It's hard. The A-Grav isn't really built to maneuver backwards. Just hitting the wall. There we go. That's better. Been playing too many other games. I keep trying to reload. Well, that was practically a walk in the park. And I got an achievement. What's that for? Kill 1,000 spacers. All right. Cool. Well, that was pretty quick. I'm not gonna jump into the next mission just yet. We're gonna do a double shift of reading intel. Spacer Mech Broodmare. Subtle as a heart attack, styled like a brutalist ode to regime change. The Broodmare is one of those spacer mechs that carry so much firepower, it's a wonder we have any photos of it at all. A little top-heavy, but spacer leg tech is probably a good decade ahead of ours. Lightweight alloys and better self-righting stabilizers and all that crap. At first glance, this looks like a sleepwalker's big brother. Oh, sorry. Spacer Mech Usul. At first glance, this looks like a sleepwalker's big brother, but that's where the similarities stop. At the top end, Spacer Tech allegedly starts to heavily favor hard shields and big weapons. Most of the stack you see is heat dispersal and coolant recycling for the incredible amounts. Sorry, I'm a little confused because it sounds like it's contradicting itself and I feel like I missed something. Let me just start over. Spacer Heavy Mech, or Spacer Ultra Mech Usul. At first glance, this looks like a sleepwalker's big brother, but that's where the similarities stop. At the top end, Spacer Tech allegedly starts to heavily favor hard shields and big weapons. Most of the stack you see is heat dispersal and coolant recycling for the incredible amounts of shielding the thing carries. Still haven't managed to see one fire that big laser. Not sure I want to. Spacer Mech Heavy Ateos. Begs the question just what kind of alloys and tech animate a mech so preposterously bristling with firepower and shielding. Looks like a Cantor on steroids. You know, pushing that kind of mass around on the field means thankfully they don't have too many in service. I think the thing I hate the most about the Ateos is the good sense not to make it 50 feet high, like most Spacer Divines, especially the Ultras. The Ateos doesn't have to try to look any meaner than it is. Dual energy weapon mounts take care of the rest. Tunerall. The Tunerall is a curious mech, especially for spacers. At first I couldn't piece it together. While similar, there didn't seem to be a standardized design in the various samples I could assemble. Apparently, it's not an official model of the Spacers, rather a mechanic's nickname for an improvised chassis. Spacers are like the old Revelators. They'll never leave brick chassis behind if they can help it. Either a dead vehicle gets picked up for salvage on one of their massive grave sleds, or it's obliterated by rail slugs from an orbiting dropship. This is also the reason why Spacer Tech is so hard to get your hands on, ignoring the difficulty of disabling one of their vehicles in the first place. Since leg components are left intact far more often than uppers, Spacers will, in a move as close to Corvette engineering as you'll see them get, retrofit the legs with new uppers built from their recovered salvage. There's still some kind of protocol to their construction though, as I've never seen variants that deviate too far from a recognizable type. The small cockpit overhangings. Nope, that's a typo. The small cockpit overhangs a weapon socket surrounded by flanged plates. I sometimes wonder if there's a ritualistic component at play here, or if it's a purely practical initiative. Either way, the end result is the tunerall. Not as sturdy as most spacer heavies, but it's quick on its feet, it still packs a heavy punch. Oxybellies, or oxybelays? I don't know. When spacer breach teams need extra firepower, they bring in the oxybelays. This mech is, in essence, a cockpit nestled within a massive combustion drum, visibly protruding from the back. We've recovered and, albeit poorly, replicated the Spacer's Jericho cannon, but to date I don't know of any terrestrial military that's been able to match this oversized variant of the weapon, much less field a vehicle capable of mounting one. What I do know is that no fortification is capable of withstanding sustained assault by even a single oxybellies. It's rare to see a spacer vehicle built into so specialized a role, which is also why you'll never see oxybellies operating without escort, usually hounds or balders. But the result is a consummate siege engine, terrifying in its efficacy. The only footage that exists of an oxybelly's spear in operation shows entire city blocks coming down in sequence, as if wrecked by massive earthquakes. What few survivors were recovered exhibited some of the most severe shell shock cases our psychs have ever treated. Sultan. Broadly useful mech, frequently deployed as a result. Spacer proclivity for hyper-specialization means a generalist is often needed to round out unit compositions. Cheek armor is overly long to serve as a secondary heat sink, though Sultans remain more than serviceable in configurations with physical munitions. Simpler design and lower cost per flight hour mean most Sultan pilots source from less moneyed spacer families. Avoids the tunerall's stigma, though similar in combat efficacy. Doric. Just not one of their best, if you ask me. Might be an older design, but honestly I can't tell with this one. There are enough of them in service. Undergunned for a heavy mech, but plenty of shielding and the same earth-shaking stomp attack you expect from spacers. Seems like they're used in a support role, but I can't be sure on that one. Offering a light touch to round out the pain dished out by spacer heavies. They're also a little faster in the straightaway, just enough to surprise you. Zolig. One of the few examples of spacer mechs I actually had a clear vid of. Clear enough for our purposes anyway. Designed for urban pacification despite its height. The Zolig has side-by-side rather than axial weapon mounts. I'm assuming to keep weight centered and overall length down for close quarters work. Nothing ruins your day faster than trashing your laser apertures by scraping them against the side of a building. I mean, so I've heard. Romancer Mark II. A rare example of spacer engineering returning to a previous design. Typically their minds are too bent on innovation and entertainment to show this kind of focus. However, I understand the engineer behind this well-shielded heavy mech is an obsessive perfectionist. The emitter ports have been shifted over, while the access hatch and presumably the entire pilot cocoon are pulled towards the back. Unfortunately, without more than the basic intel I have access to for this new design, I can only guess as to the rationale behind these changes. The characteristic pig snout remains, however. My sources tell me this new Romancer is a fitting successor to the original. I don't think we know anything about the Mark I, so that's interesting. All right. Getting close to the end here. On the next mission, we will play, or on the next episode, we will play Mission E4, Never Had Wings. I'll see you guys then.